Well, hey everybody, my name is Jason Abernathy. I am a person in long-term recovery from substance use disorder and mental health issues, and I am the Region 1 Lifeline Peer Project Coordinator. Lifeline was started back in the summer of 2013, and it's funded through the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. And I'm sitting here with my good friend Molly Colley, and we wanted to talk some today about connection. Thinking about the times we're in right now and the things that we're all going through, if you all are anything like me, this person in recovery, I love isolation. I love it. That was my playground. And in my addiction and in my experiences with mental health issues, isolation was just the place to be. Because if I'm around people, then y'all are going to try to fix me. And I don't want to be fixed, right? I want to just stay stuck, if you will, in the darkness. And today I can honestly say today that I don't want to be in that dark place, and I don't have to be. And we're in these times where we're all kind of distanced from each other, and a lot of us are staying at home, and we're not getting out. We're not having those interactions with people, and it can be, for this guy right here, speaking for myself, it can be a recipe for disaster. I have a disease that requires treatment, and if I don't treat it with recovery and connection and community, I will treat it with substance. And that can be, alcohol, it can be drugs, it can be food, it can be any number of things. Gambling. And with all that, comes the darkness. And if I'm not connected with others, if I'm not reaching out, and one of the big things for me, in this recovery journey, they say to keep it, you got to give it away. And, if I'm just by myself, I'm alone, if I've got, all ties to the outside world cut off, the only sounding board I have is myself. And, I'm going to tell y'all, my best thinking got me in the worst places I've ever been. And it wasn't good a lot of times. So, I have been very intentional over the last several months about staying connected. Even though I might not be able to see, everybody in person. I know a lot of our 12-step meetings, our support meetings, for whatever ails us, a lot of those things have shut down, and a lot of it's moved to online. Mm-hmm. And, in some ways that's great. It's a tool, it's an option, for me. I see it as a great tool. I do not see that as being forever. We are going to get through this, you all. We're going to come through this. We're going to come out this other side stronger for it. And we'll be back together, and we're going to be connected. And I believe that with everything in my being. And but for the time, it has been a good tool, and at least a way. And I call it the Brady Bunch. Looking at everybody on these little screens, it reminds me and I'll never look at the Brady Bunch the same again. But it's been some connection, even though there's not that actual physical touch. I'm a hugger. I love to hug y'all. Love to shake hands. Love to love on people. And even though that piece is not there, it's still good to be able to see people's faces and to reach out. And even the telephone, I have found myself more in the last several months on the phone, reaching out to folks that I've not talked to in a while. And you never know. You never know what somebody's battling, what they're going through, what they're struggling with. And we won't know if we don't reach out. And in the same sense, people won't know about us. A thing for me about staying engaged and staying in connection is I have to have that accountability. Because if you lock me away too long and I don't have anybody that have eyes on me, if you will, then I can fall right back into those old behaviors. I've not found it necessary to use substance during this time. That's not to say that there hadn't been some darkness. There's days that I'm good, and then there's days that I'm not good. But one of the things that I have learned in my journey is that it's okay to not be okay some days. Let's reach out. Let's let folks know when we're not okay, and that's hard. We all know that telephone weighs hundreds of thousands of pounds when you try to pick it up when we're in a struggle. Clicking online, even I have to watch that online that I don't black my screen out. This is a process here, y'all. This beard and this hair, now it takes some doing. So every now and then you're gonna get a blacked out screen from Jason. But I try to suit up and show up because seeing people's faces, even if it's just on that screen, it has helped me to feel connected. As things have gotten a little better, and being able to do some meetings now in person and some interactions and get to see the people like my friend Molly over here, and it means so much. But y'all, I just can't emphasize enough. When we talk about our substance abuse, our substance misuse, our mental health, suicide, I spent a lot of years, I didn't set out per se to leave this world, but there was plenty of times that I just didn't really care if I came back around or not the next day. There was so many days when I would wake up and I'd be like, man, it's like the movie Groundhog Day. Here we go again. Here we go again. And I'm gonna be honest. There have been times like that in my sobriety, and in my mental health recovery. I've had days where I wake up and I just want to pull the covers over my head and say, not today. I ain't got it to give. And those are the days that I really need to get up and get moving. I've got a beautiful family, beautiful wife, beautiful daughter, and my wife has encouraged me through the years. She has a foot that fits firmly and perfectly in my rear end to this day. When I get in those spots, but she encourages me, get up, get moving, get going. Because when I do that, and I start putting one foot in front of the other, and y'all, I'm telling you, there's some days I have to do it as simple as left foot, right foot, breathe in, breathe out. Don't take a drink, don't take a drug, don't isolate too much, don't withdraw from people. When folks say, how you doing? If y'all are anything like this cat right here, the bearded one, my natural response is, I'm fine. And I learned this little trick a long time ago. When I ask people how they're doing, they say, I'm good. I say, how you really doing? And it's funny, and some of y'all can relate, because I've had my own trick used against me. That head will drop and be like, well, I think that when people ask us how we're doing, we think if we say anything other than fine, they're going to try to fix us. And I don't know so much that it's people trying to fix me, it's just that they care. And I'll tell y'all something else too, being honest, because I try to be honest with y'all. I don't want to rob anybody of an opportunity to be of service. See, sometimes Jason thinks Jason's a burden. Well, if I call Molly, if I call my sponsor, if I call my wife, if I call my friend, I'm going to be a burden on them. And that is nothing further from the truth. I know in those dark places with the substance, with the mental health, with those little suicidal thoughts that might creep in from time to time. Oh, I'm just a burden. I'm just a burden on people. And really, what I tell folks when they tell that to me, and I ask them, I say, how come you didn't call, or why didn't you reach out? Well, I don't want to bother you. And what I try to do, and the way I try to frame it, is I'm like, you're not bothering me. You're robbing me of an opportunity to be of service, because I may need, on that particular day when you're feeling that, thinking that, I may need somebody to talk to, because when I'm talking to you guys, I'm talking to you, Molly, it keeps me out of me. Because I'm going to tell you something. My mind is like a bad neighborhood. I don't need to go in there without adult supervision or backup. Because if I do, I'm in trouble, because it's a circus. And there's little squirrels running on treadmills, juggling switchblades, and just clowns. And I don't do clowns, y'all. I'm not a clown guy. Don't like clowns. But that's what goes on up here. And there's some days, I wonder myself. I know there's people that think, what's going on with that boy? And I'm like, some days I wonder myself, and I got to live with me. But I can't harp enough and emphasize enough about this connection. About this connection to each other. For so many years I thought I was all by myself. I thought I was all alone. I'm very unique. Nobody's going to understand. Nobody else.
No one's ever felt this way before.
No, you don't know what I'm feeling, Molly. You have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do I know? Nobody knows us better than we do. So I'm a firm believer in when we're doing things and when we're talking about our care, nothing about us without us. We need to be involved in that equation. But with that, when I'm seeking help, I need to be involved in that equation. I need to let people know what's going on with me because you don't know what's going on inside his head, and be glad. But, until I express that and verbalize that, and the other thing for me, folks, is when I verbalize things or when I journal things, and I'm lazy, Lord of mercy. I'm a procrastinator and I hate to write, oh mercy. But the relief that comes with it. And I'm in college, I'm working on a master's degree, and it wasn't until this past semester that I really figured out about my procrastination. It's not that I'm so much lazy, I'm afraid. What if I try this and I fail? What if I reach out to you and you don't like me? Or what if you see me for who I really am and you don't like me?
Oh, that's a scary thought, isn't it?
Very.
Mm-hmm. That vulnerability of showing someone
right.
our struggles.
The B word, I call it, the vulnerability of opening up. What if I let you inside this circus? What if I let you come into my playground and you don't like me? So that is probably more accurate than being lazy. Because what if I get these things out on paper? What if I say them out loud and I figure out I don't like myself? Well, guess what? When I put it out there, most times I see it for what it really is, and it's not as bad as what I thought. And I have yet to have anybody that I have spoke with or shared with look at me and just take that deep gasp, because we're always waiting on that gasp of breath for somebody when we share with them. And I have yet to have that happen. And that, again, is just a miracle and the blessing of being in recovery and having a good support network. And I have to utilize that, and I have to remember I am not a burden. You're not a burden. We're loved.
Yes, sir.
There are people that love us and think about us, and every now and then I've been getting these notes just every once in a while. I'll get a random text, and it warms my heart to know that we never know when we're on somebody's mind.
So I'm kind of hearing from you that there's kind of a two-way street here as far as connection goes, but part of that is when somebody is on our mind or when we are thinking or worried about somebody, there's kind of a responsibility on us to reach out and connect with that person. And I'll use you and I for an example. We've done that with each other. Just, hey,
sure.
Jason, I was just thinking about you today. How's everything going? And I know that connection for both of us can be helpful and has been an important bond. And so when you're thinking about someone reaching out and connect, if you're worried about someone reaching out and connecting, especially if you know someone is struggling, if you have people in your life who are in recovery or have recently lost someone or have lost their job, people who are in these positions where we're worried about them, that's the perfect time to reach out. And reaching out might look like different things, but I also heard from you the important part of, if you're struggling, if you can, the importance of you reaching out and letting other people know, because people can't always tell when we're struggling. Does that sound right?
Absolutely. And again, the thing, I love, like in recovery, we always recommend you get a home group. There are meetings, lots of meetings that we can go to, and you might pop in from time to time. It may be months before you come back. But when you have a home group, or when you have a core group of accountability partners that you're checked in with regularly, that you're talking with regularly, it's a whole lot easier for them to see and hear. Because we hear it also, even if we can't see it, on the phone. Because I've had people do that with me too. How are you? Oh, I'm good. How are you really? I can tell something's not right. So it is important, and the thing that's really cool about it is it doesn't cost anything. There's no cost to reach out to somebody or for somebody to reach out to us. All we got to do is invest a little time and a little effort, and be just a little bit willing. You know, if we got that faith the size of a mustard seed, you know, if we can just reach out and know that that somebody else is either going through or has gone through the same thing, and that's another beautiful thing about it is, you know, we're all at different places. You know, one day Jason may be way down here, and Molly or somebody else is way up here. You know, luckily, we're not all in the hole at the same time, or in the valley at the same time, or in the peaks at the same time. You know, I used to spend a lot of time, like I tell folks, you know, an EKG line, if it does this, that's not good, not good. So, you know, it has to do this. And it's like I used to be I'd go down and I'd be in the valleys for a long time. I'd get a real quick peak and be back in the valley. Well, today, it's, you know, the valleys are quicker and the peaks are longer. But, you know, I have to go through those things, you know, going through the valleys and being in those dark places. While they're different today, you know, I don't have the substance on them and some of the same issues. They still can be dark, but they go away, you know, and there's so much value in that, in the struggle, because there's somebody else. I know today without a doubt, and this is Jason, you know, my God allowed me to walk through, He allowed me to walk through everything I walked through to be where I am today, and if I take my past and use it to help others, then it's got purpose. So, you know, God doesn't waste a hurt. And if we take that in those life experiences, and it doesn't have to be with suicidal ideations or mental health issues or substance issues. Maybe we've gone through a divorce or an abuse or any of that stuff. You know, you said gambling. You know, it's the whole gamut. We're all broken. We've all got stuff. But if we can look at those experiences and see the value in them, when we take them, if we hold on to them, when I held on to all my junk, it was worthless. But when I started giving my junk away, you know, they say one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? So when I started sharing those things that to me for the longest time were my biggest liabilities, today I know they're my greatest asset, because in using those and sharing them, one, it relieves me of that burden. When I get those things out, they lose power over me. When I stay connected and interact, you know, the things lose power over me. But it also helps somebody else.
Right, and you had mentioned earlier that thought of, you know, not wanting to be a burden on somebody else. But I think you just brought up a really great point, which is that sometimes when we are struggling, by reaching out to someone else, you'd mentioned that, you know, you're robbing someone of the opportunity to help you, but sometimes you never know if that person's going through something or has gone through something similar too. And sometimes sharing our own struggles and letting someone know we're hurting might let somebody else, might kind of normalize that, and someone else might say, you know what, I'm struggling too, or you know what, I've been there, you're not alone. And it can make your connection with that person stronger, and by you asking for help or telling someone you're struggling, you can let them know it's okay to ask for help too.
Right. Well, we give them permission.
Yes.
We give people permission to not be okay, because when you have somebody that we trust or we reach out to, whether it be a person in leadership, a pastor, or whatnot, and when they say, you know, that they've struggled too, it gives others permission, you know, to feel what we feel. And I can't tell you how many times, Molly, I've had those days where I've woke up and I pray every morning, you know, that God, let me be a maximum service to others today. Give me someone to help. And I've got my fingers crossed, because I'm like, but I really ain't got it today. And that's the days I get hammered. And I'm like, wow, I mean, I'm hammered. But then at the end of the day, I realized I was given everything I needed that day, because when I was ready to withdraw and isolate and not be a part of, that was the times that I was able to serve. So I can't tell you how many times I had somebody reach out to me thinking they were a burden and I was struggling. But immediately when we started talking, it relieved me from the bondage of self. And it gave me that freedom, you know. And, you know, I was thinking about, you know, when you and I were talking the other day, we were talking about connection and being connected. And I was thinking about a puzzle. You know, you get a puzzle, and some of y'all may relate to this, especially if you ever drank like I did and you lose things. But, you know, you got this puzzle you're working on, and you get right down to it, and there's that one piece that's missing. that one last piece to complete it, to make that connection, to complete this whole thing, and you're like, crap. Well, that's one thing when you're doing a 100-piece puzzle. But when you're in one of them 1,000-piece puzzles where you've lost your mind for months trying to put this thing together, and you get down to it, it's like, ah. So, I think about that connection and how important it is to have all the pieces of the puzzle. Because, putting them together is what makes that beautiful picture. And we're all like puzzle pieces, we're shaped different because we've all got a little bit different story, but, we want the same objective. We want that completed, finished product,
Sure.
That beautiful thing we can laminate or whatever and stick up on the wall and remember, yep, I worked hard on that.
You know what I think? I really like that analogy, and I think we are all puzzle pieces, but the puzzle pieces don't always have to be people either. For some people, that puzzle piece might be going to a meeting, going to see your doctor. It might be accessing some of the resources that are out there, reaching out to Inside Alliance or reaching out to TSPN, just knowing what pieces are available in your community to help too, to do whatever we can to make that a whole puzzle. So I really like that analogy.
Absolutely.
And something else you said that's been ringing in my head is at the very beginning of talking today, you were talking about how it's in your nature to isolate and to withdraw and be left to your own devices, and that how dangerous that is for someone in long-term recovery. So I don't know, what would you say that people who are either in recovery or in active substance use or struggling with active mental health symptoms or thoughts of suicide, what would you say is an important thing for them to know about fighting that drive to isolate, that unhealthy part of us telling us to stay on our own? What do you
Right. Well, probably the most important thing when I think about all of what you just said, being in active addiction, being in recovery, having suicidal ideation, suicidal thoughts, mental health, experiencing, issues with our mental health. As long as we are above ground and breathing, there's hope. And we forget that. We forget about hope, because it doesn't always look like what we want it to look like. I want it to come in the form of, you won the lottery, here's $97 million, and it's all rainbows shooting out of unicorns' backsides. It's just finding that little bit, that little mustard seed size faith that we want to go on, that we want to do better, that we can do better, and just knowing that, while the one side of us, the darkness wants to tell us, it's there's no point in it. There's no point.
Right, retreat.
You can't help anybody. You don't have anything to offer, and there's nothing further from the truth. And it makes me think about the starfish story. I remember the first time I ever read it, and I'm gonna paraphrase this. But there's a guy on the beach, and he sees just thousands and thousands of starfish, and the tide's out, and he sees somebody way up ahead, and he sees this person, they keep bending over, and as he gets closer, he notices that this guy or gal is bending over, picking up starfish and throwing them back in the ocean. So he gets over and he says, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" He said, "Well, I'm throwing these starfish back in the ocean, to save them." He said, "Well, there's thousands of these things out here. You can't make a difference." It made a difference to that one. So everything you all are going through, somebody needs it. Somebody needs to hear it. Somebody needs to know that they're not alone, and it will make a difference. We think so often. I'll go back to what I said about procrastination. I got to build Rome in a day, or I'm not going to strike a lick.
Right.
I'm not going to pick up a hammer. But it's the little things that really help, and that might be something as simple as picking up that telephone and making that phone call, clicking into that Zoom meeting. Getting involved with like the Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network, getting involved in some of the meetings, while we're not meeting in person, the Zoom meetings, finding those things in your community, and a lot of it being online right now to where we can make a difference, to where we can share that experience. So trying to dig down, number one, at least have a core group of accountability folks that we are willing to talk to, that will motivate us and push us to reach out and to do those things. People that won't co-sign our BS. People that are going to be like, no, today you need to make that phone call. And again, There's going to be days where, man, just getting up and brushing our teeth is going to be the best we can do. Okay. But you know what? We don't have to stay there. Now, my mind will tell me otherwise. I've got this mind that says, oh, this is the best you're going to do. This is the best you're going to get. And
I think that's where that hope piece comes in. You were talking about, though, is just that hope and belief and understanding that things can get better, you can get better, and that, you know, especially when we are in the darkness or in those dark days, that just willingness to understand and believe that it won't be this way forever.
Right. You know, I'll say this, Molly, and I'll say this to y'all, whoever's watching. Think back to a time when you were really happy. It went away. Now think about when you were in the darkness and you thought, I'll never laugh again. But yet we did. So many times I thought, I will never be happy again. And then I got happy.
Right. All emotions are, they cycle. They go, like nothing, no feeling, no emotion like that lasts forever.
You know, it makes me think of, you know, when I came back into recovery this time, it's been a little while now, I can remember some of the first really good things that happened. I wanted to hold on so tight because I thought it will never be this good again. And if I would have been allowed to hold on to that first good thing, I would have missed so many more, because I promise you this, things will get different. For a lot of us, it gets better. And then at times it's worse.
But there's another better
there's another better around the corner. It has been my experience, I'm speaking from my experience, that the good things will come, but they will go. So in that same sense, the bad things go as well, and the good things come back. So I know it's scary. I know we're living in some really hard times, but know this, you're not alone. There is hope. There is help. There are folks out here who care, who want to help, and who are willing to share. You know, and I'll say this. I had a fellow a long time ago in one of the 12-step fellowships that I'm in. He said, if ain't nobody told you they love you today, I love you. And ain't a damn thing you can do about it. And that always stuck with me. And I'll say the same to y'all. A lot of y'all out there, whoever's watching this, I don't know you, but I know you. And if somebody told you they love you today, I love you. And there ain't nothing you can do about it.
I love that. Do you have any resources that you would like people in the community to know about? I'd be happy to share them up on the screen at the end of this video. Or
Sure. You know, like I said earlier, I'm with the Lifeline Peer Project. I cover the upper 8 counties in Northeast Tennessee. I am a free resource. So I'm a certified peer recovery specialist. If you need somebody to reach out to, you can reach out to me at 877-366-7593, extension 105, and that's Jason Abernathy. If you got something going on and you just need somebody to talk with, bounce stuff off of, I promise you this, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to beat you over the head. I'm not going to preach at you.
You're a good sounding board, though.
I'll share with you what I've been through in my experience and maybe help you figure some options out, you know. But this recovery thing is something that we have to do, and it's a privilege and it's a blessing. But also on our website, www.insight, INSIGHT, Alliance, ALLIANCE.org, insightalliance.org. If you go in there and click on the Lifeline tab at the top, there's a resource guide down that has like the different 12-step meetings around. But again, if you ever need to reach out and you know, somebody to talk to, you need some resources, I'm glad to help. And there's no cost to it. And I promise you this, I'm not going to judge you. And I won't tell you what to do. I will tell you what I have done. And nothing else, we can talk about the beard.
It's a good beard. It's a good beard. Thank you so much, Jason. I appreciate you, and I hope that somebody watching has heard what they need to hear today, and I appreciate you so much.
Well, you're welcome. Y'all take care. Remember, self-care, practice self-care. Put your oxygen mask on first, like I tell you in the airplane, and love on yourself. nobody's harder on us than we are. So give yourself a little grace today. Be kind, some self-forgiveness, and I'm here if you need me. Thank you.